before, but we've never had that. We've got a waiting list of 40 women that are crying because they can't be here today to hear you. Oh my God, it's just phenomenal. Okay. I'm losing my place all over the place. Okay, so there is most definitely something divine at play here for us to have Jackie Collins amongst us. My first Jackie read was the #1 New York Times bestseller, Hollywood Wives, which I read without putting down ever for a second, not a minute, in the bathroom, at the table. I never put the book down. It was also probably the first time I learned to, well, you know, never mind. Yeah, it was hot. Okay, but prior to Hollywood Wives, there was The Studs, Sinners, The Love Killers, The World Full of Divorced Women, The Bitch, written for me, no, Lovers and Gamblers, and Chances, which introduced her most famous character, Lucky. Then the sequel to Chances, which was Lucky, which was Lucky, garnered Jackie another #1 bestseller. All of her books have been bestsellers, and she's had a bunch of #1s too. There have been miniseries, films, TV, movies. There has been her own television show, Jackie Collins Hollywood, on E!, which was a huge success. Following that, there was Hollywood Wives: The Next Generation, Lady Boss, Dangerous Kiss, Drop Dead Beautiful. There are simply too many to mention. Jackie has sold over 400 million books. And today, she's ours. Ladies, Jackie Collins.
Oh, where do I put that?
Oh, can I touch your breast?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so soft.
Most.
And they're real, and they're magnificent.
That's the most fun I've had all day. So, I've heard fantastic things about Vicki, and so I was really looking forward to coming here today. She's actually a legend in her own time. Everybody goes, oh, you're going to Vicki's, it's fantastic. Carrie White told me that. Everybody said that. But I also want to say to you that, yeah, thanks for naming all those books. I've written 27 books. And even more important than that, ladies, and I'm sure you'll be interested in this, I am a school dropout. I was thrown out of school at 15, and, well, actually for a few reasons. One was waving at the resident flasher and going, cold day today, isn't it? And they thought this was absolutely shocking. And then I played truant every day and went to the movies. And then when I was at school, I would pretend that I was secretly American and that I'm actually English and that my father was in the CIA and that we were in England on a mission. So I was always making up stories. But the reason I tell you this is because I think I'm very inspirational to women, because everybody said, oh, you've been thrown out of school, you've got to go to college, you've got to get degrees, you can't be a writer. Everybody said to me, you can't do it. And I think if people say that to you in life, then you have to say to yourself, yes, I can. And that's exactly what I said, right? Yes, I can. Yeah. I'm going to read from the new book in a minute, but first I want to say that, what did I want to say? Something. Yeah, I think that you have to follow your dream, that women have to follow their dreams particularly. Yeah, my first book was The World is Full of Married Men, and it was 1968, and it took the double standard, and it threw it on its head. There was a married man that was screwing everything that moved, and everybody went, oh, it's all right, you know, he was in Chicago for the weekend, it doesn't matter when a man does it. And then like 9 years later, his wife, his faithful wife, did it with a rock star, of course. And he was absolutely outraged. How dare she? Everybody was outraged that she had screwed around on him, even though he'd done it to her a million times. And he went to his beautiful girlfriend, and he said, you know what? I'm going to leave my wife. She's been unfaithful to me, and I'm going to marry you. And his beautiful girlfriend looked at him and said, I don't want to marry you. I just like sleeping with married men. So there was an MP in England who was in the closet at the time, and he actually took a half page in the English newspaper, and he said, this is the most shocking book I have ever read, because men were outraged by this. And I had taken out all the four-letter words on the advice of my publisher, who said, you'll be banned in Australia, you have to take out all the four-letter words. This was 1968. So I did, and then I was banned in Australia anyway. Which just goes to show. So my language has never been changed since then. Anyway, Poor Little Bitch Girl came out on the 9th, and it's already going to be number 6 on the New York Times bestseller list. And I think I'm one of the few writers that is able to say that after all these years, I'm still on the bestseller list, so it's great. And I love what I do. I have a passion for it. I wake up every morning, and if I've got nothing else to do except write, then I'm a happy person. I love it, and I've got a passion for it. And I'm sure a lot of you want to write. And I always have advice to people on my website, and I go, if you want to write, you've got to do it, not talk about it. Because so many people talk about it. They go, well, I've got a book in me. You know, if you've got spare time, I can tell you the story. And I have so many stories of my own that I want to tell. And you've just got to sit there, pick up that pen, even if you write a page a day. At the end of the year, you'll have a book, if that's what you can do. But I always say if it was 100 years ago, I'd be sitting around a campfire and going, I'm going to tell you a story. Because I'm not a literary writer. I've never wanted to be a literary writer. I just tell stories about people. And the other secret is to write about what you know. And I've had a pretty interesting life. You know, my sister was a movie star in Hollywood when I was thrown out of school, and so, you know, I came to Hollywood at an early age. And my parents said to me, when I was thrown out of school, they said, reform school or Hollywood. And I thought for a moment, it was a very difficult decision. But I think I made the right one, and I'm going to write an autobiography next year, and I'm calling it Reform School or Hollywood, which I think is a great title. And she was living with Warren Beatty at the time, and she was in this beautiful, who wasn't, somebody said. Yeah, I have a quote in a Warren Beatty book where they said, did Warren come onto you? And I said, Warren would come onto a table if it looked at him sideways. It was absolutely true, and he's a fabulous guy, and I love him to this day, but, you know, he's horny. Well, who isn't, actually? So, yeah, so my advice to everybody out there is you've just got to do it. So there are 4 characters in Poor Little Bitch Girl. There are 3 girls that all went to Beverly Hills High together. They're all now 25, and they've all gone off in different directions. And then there's Lucky's son, Bobby Santangelo Stanilopoulos, who's absolutely gorgeous, and women are coming up to me at airports now and saying, where can I meet Bobby? And I'm going, he's in my head, sorry. So I thought what I'd do is read you a little bit of each chapter, because in the first 4 chapters I introduce all 4 characters. They're all in different places. There is Annabelle, who's running Call Girls in New York. There is Carolyn, who's the intern to a married senator in Washington who's cheating on his wife. Doesn't that sound like it couldn't happen? And then there is Denver, who's my favorite character, and I write Denver in the first person. She's like a feisty lawyer in L.A. And then the 4th character is Bobby. So I thought I'd just read a couple of pages of each of these characters and see what you think of them in Poor Little Bitch Girl. So I will find the first page. And this is Annabelle. Now, Annabelle is the daughter of movie star parents, and she's fled Hollywood, and she's in New York with her boyfriend, Frankie Romano, a coke addict, and they're having fun. Belle Spentlana surveyed her nude image in a full-length mirror, readying herself for a $30,000 an hour sexual encounter with the 15-year-old son of an Arab oil tycoon. Belle knew she was a beauty. What the hell? Enough money had been spent along the way to make sure she was beautiful. A nose job ordered by her mother when she was a mere 14, a boob job shortly after, that was her decision, and then later liposuction when needed, lip enhancement, regular facials, and skin lasering treatments to make certain her skin remained the milky white she'd worked so hard to achieve. Getting rid of her freckles had been a bitch, but she'd done it. Ever since her teenage years, Belle had strived for perfection, and now she'd gotten pretty damn close. Her hair was a pale golden red, shoulder length and wavy. Her eyes were a spectacular emerald green, her body a playground of delights. Yes, she thought, staring intently at her unabashed nakedness, I am worth every cent of the $30,000 cash already neatly stashed in my safe. Usually she did not go out on dates herself, but Sharif Rani, the oil tycoon, had insisted that it was she who should teach his youngest son the joys of the flesh. So, for a princely sum, she'd finally agreed.